You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire YouTube wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leck.
Together we are
Rope Break.
And welcome to another week of Professional Wrestling Family. Thank you for being with us. And, we're going to be talking about the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. Did it feel like a Monday Night Raw go-home show, Paul? I don't think so.
Well, no, actually it did, because when's the last time we had a good go-home show for any pay-per-view, whether it's a big one like the Royal Rumble or a bullshit one like, Fastlane or something like that. They've never been good. They never felt, legit to hype you up. Yeah, there might be one or two segments here or there sprinkled in that, oh yeah, there's a pay-per-view on Sunday, but otherwise it's just the same bullshit we get every Monday, just 3 hours of pretty much garbage.
Unwatchable stuff. Yes, it gets really hard to watch as the weeks go by, but this has been happening for years. A lot of times we ourselves have to hype for something that is like a pay-per-view, but even WWE don't even sell you that idea. Hey, there's gonna be the road for WrestleMania is gonna start. No, they never tell you that. But we're gonna be talking about every single thing that happened, and a little bit of WWE selling the rights of the WWE Network to Peacock, because that was the main story of the day. But they didn't even sell it on Monday Night Raw. It was one segment. Oh yeah, by the way, no more.
Yeah, and when they mentioned that, they even said that oh yeah, we'll give more information, during the show. And you're thinking, okay, maybe they'll talk price points, they'll talk something like that. No, nothing.
No, that's what nothing. I mean. It's a lot of shows feel like they'll just really fast, they just want to do it quick, just want to go with get through them. So it's just oh, it's done. Oh, people like it, dislike it, whatever. So thank you, family, for being with us. Subscriptions and the love that you give us every single time, we really appreciate it. Paul, Drew McIntyre opens the show. I don't know, that to me this should have felt like this should be the main event, just because this is supposed to be the marquee match for the Royal Rumble. So he's back from COVID-19. He looks still legit. He looks ripped. For the ones that hey, Chris Jericho and his 61-year-old body. Right there, he's cutting a promo, thanking the WWE Universe for the messages, thanking Raw Break, because guys, we've been talking to Drew. Are you good? Yeah, he's legit. Okay, are you going to be able to be at the Rumble? Yes. So he's talking about that, but right away, they have the match with Goldberg. I feel that yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say, Paul, that he's going to drop the title to Goldberg. I really hope not, because that will be a complete mistake. But let's hope that doesn't happen. And right there, he gets interrupted by these guys. Like you said, the biggest jobbers in professional wrestling, especially John Morrison. Unless he's going to have his wife by his side really soon. But this is what, they start talking, and they said, hey, this is King Kong against Godzilla, just because the trailer was out, yesterday. So what do you think about all of this?
Yeah, I mean, Drew came out. I like the promo he cut. He's like, oh, I was lucky with COVID. It didn't hit me too hard, but, I'm back. And, Drew is just legit. And if this match with Goldberg, I feel that maybe this was the opening segment because they thought fans would be into this, but then maybe they saw the backlash where everybody's because everybody remembers what happened with Goldberg and The Fiend. Oh, there's no way The Fiend's going to beat Goldberg. This will just be cool because The Fiend was taking out legends at the time. Oh, no, he lost. And then, now people are you better not do this shit with Drew. Because at least Drew was a babyface champ while The Fiend was a heel. But, this to me is just, it's not good. The Miz and Morrison, like I said, they always stay relevant because they have the briefcase. But it's it's so dumb. It's so annoying because he failed to cash in. Is he going to fail it again? Probably. Is he going to become WWE champ? Hopefully not, but, the way this company books things and the deals they do with, Peacock and Goldberg in the main event and all this shit, I wouldn't be surprised if Miz walks out of Royal Rumble with the WWE Championship.
Or WWE Cock or Peacock,
Yeah, exactly.
I showed you that picture. You loved it. I loved it also. Goldberg comes back. Oh, yeah, he comes out. Oh, you're next, Drew. Boom. And then, for some reason, The Miz and Morrison get in the action and then get taken out by both of the champs.
Yeah, because they were standing there on the apron. They were trying to oh yeah, hit him now. Oh yeah, don't wait till Sunday. Blah blah blah. And then they
instigators, let's start something here. But then they got the spear by Goldberg and the Claymore kick by Drew McIntyre. I like this picture though. I like both of them standing tall and this is good though. At least that's a good stare down. There wasn't any action between themselves, because, of course, Goldberg only has 50 more seconds.
Well, Goldberg was already, when they did the close-up, you see Drew, he's fine. And you see Goldberg, he's already covered in sweat, huffing and puffing after, one spear and, throwing the guy back in the ring. So, I
And
don't
then
know.
I just hate he always wears the same hoodie. I'm like, can we have another one? And it's always the same. He's like, do you always wear the same thing when you come out to the ring? But like you said, a segment to me at least it should have been towards the end, just because it's like the end of the Royal Rumble. I don't think that a championship match, a go home show, unless the title switches, it should be like the main event. But because
Mhm.
what they did, it makes a little bit of sense. But I think that segment didn't do much for me either, because who wants to see
No.
Drew with Goldberg? It doesn't really matter. Boom, we go to Miz WrestleMania. Jeannie calls herself the Queen. So like Charlotte calls herself Miss WrestleMania, they just call themselves whatever they want. So there you go. She's gonna have a match with Shayna Baszler, and then she's actually out before she goes to like the ring, and then she's talking to Charlie, and she said, "Yeah, I'm Miss WrestleMania. I have the records. I'm good." And she's like, "It doesn't really bother me what my dad does." On Sunday, also we're gonna be defending the tag team title belts, and it's actually official that they're gonna have the rematch with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So maybe they will lose the titles. They will drop them. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But then she said, Miss WrestleMania. So she comes out, and then she's going to fight, like I said, Shayna Baszler, but we get to see Lacey Evans. Are you liking this or no? Because of this part to me are like a little bit overdone, but at least the story, like turning them, dad against the daughter and all of that, I think is decent. It's not that bad, because everything else in this show is really bad.
No, the only thing I like from this is just looking at Lacey Evans when she turns around.
That's
Otherwise,
right.
otherwise to me, this whole thing is awful. This was probably, I think, 40 to 45 minutes of the show from this point, and it was just completely awful. We get this match, which hey, if there was a title on the line and this was a legit feud, I'd be into it. But no, not when you give me 2 seconds of a match and then Nia Jax's wide load comes out, causes a DQ. Okay,
Nightmare.
that's done. Then you get, the baby faces, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke come out, Lacey Evans is out there. Oh, 6 baby faces and 6 heels. I wonder what's going to happen after the commercial break. We come back and it's a 6-woman tag. Who would have guessed it? A 6-woman tag that nobody gives a shit about. And you're going through the match, and guess what happens? You have Charlotte Flair and Shayna Baszler, the only 2 legit women in this entire match, and they're fighting and fighting. 8, 9. Charlotte rolls in. Shayna makes it in at 10. Well, it was at 10. So the ref did the right thing, and he called for the bell. So it's a count out. Baby faces win. They're all pissed. The heels, oh, this is bullshit. Oh, we want another, complaining at the commercial break. So, okay, now we see. This is how many segments now. We come back from commercial again, and the match is restarted. Who wanted to see this the first time, let alone see it the second time?
Oh yeah, like you said, this doesn't make sense, and and also, for example, like when Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke like decide to like come out, it's like, oh yeah, like they're gonna help me out because they lose to Shayna, both of them. So like, how am I supposed to believe that they still are gonna give me any kind of help or support when they never beat anybody else? So I didn't like this at all, and like you said, they had the other match, and I think in the other match, like the heels even won. That was what it was.
Yeah,
And
no, yeah, Nia Jax, she did like a choke bomb onto Dana Brooke, and she like awkwardly held her up because she probably couldn't pick her up because she's not strong, she's just large. So, she could barely pick her up, hit the choke bomb and pinned her. So, yeah, the heels won, and that's the right thing to do just because you got to make them look strong going into the pay per view where. I really don't know if they're going to win or they're going to lose. And the fact that they said, oh, we never got a rematch, to me just pisses me off because it's like, yeah, nobody gets a rematch. So, rematch clauses don't exist anymore in
yeah,
this
remember
company.
2 years
But,
ago they said that. Nope.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like this whole, like I said, the whole women's division, it used to be the shining point of WWE. Now it's the shit stain.
It's one of the bad. It was one of the worst points right there. You're right. I agree with you. And like I said, there's the picture Adam Pearce. Like, can you restart that? Like you said, a complete botch. Because I had my doubts, but like Jean Paul confirmed, his sources told him like it's a complete botch. Like they did, and like you said, oh, they have to restart the whole thing. And it's just like even like I think that like the refs have to like I know they have to call the match how they see it, but in some cases they need to use their judgment a little better. For example, hey, let's not do this on one more segment. Just have it,
Yeah,
like,
or tell the ref, hey, the match is gonna end with choke bomb on Dana Brooke, Nia Jax is gonna pin Dana Brooke. That's the ending of the match.
yeah,
So you go,
like,
okay, oh well, it's Charlotte and Shayna fighting on the outside. Clearly, that's not the end. I'll be like 8, 9,
ah,
get the fuck back in here, you dumb bitches. Like what the fuck, like
yes,
that's I
yes.
mean you got 2 veterans like Charlotte Flair. It's almost like she did it to make Shayna look like an idiot.
Well,
Like I don't like that. I
maybe
didn't get. I'm like,
conspiracy theory right there. We'll see. Something that it was at least good because, like you said, this guy is able to promote himself on the social media. He knows how to like kind of like stir the pot a little bit. He knows how to like get himself over through social media because when the main roster they don't like him, the writers, the creative in WWE don't really have a spot for him. But that's Mustafa Ali, and he goes against Kofi Kingston. He says, "You know that I'm coming for you. The best moment of your career was the worst time of my career. So like Coffee Mania, all of these things like, and that's why in the Elimination Chamber, like you took my spot, and I will never forget that. So you see that like he's kind of reminiscent all those moments, because it was originally like reported that he was supposed to be receiving that push, but that injury that he had like really sidelined him. And I like you said that when you just take parts of the storyline that it was like years ago and then they bring it back and then to make it feel like more relevant. I really like that. So that was a good thing that they did. What do you think about this promo?
oh, I like it. This was kind of he cut pretty much the same promo last week. This might have even been one they replayed unless it was different. But he's pretty much said the same thing, calling out Kofi, and I like that because you got to think, that was his rise. He was babyface. He was really hot at the time, and then he gets hurt. Nothing really happens. They don't really do anything. Doesn't really do anything. Loses Money in the Bank, all that stuff. And then because he was supposed to win that as well, and then just they all kind of planted the seeds for him turning heel, Retribution, everything like that. The failed hacker. Remember when he was like the hacker gimmick thing?
That was a good idea, but
and all that stuff. But I mean, I like this just for the fact that, like you said, it touches back on the past and the history. The only thing that I don't like about it is when Kofi comes back, there'll be a match with him and Kofi will win. So what's the point?
Yeah, that's what they always will do.
Kofi's already a made man. You have to, make Mustafa Ali, give him the win, and
help others out.
With him. Yeah,
help others out. But like he had a slapjack. Yeah, believe it, the name is Slapjack. He had a match with Xavier Woods. And, like, right there, they have a match. Does it really matter? No, Xavier Woods pins Slapjack. But what really matters from this thing is, like, the aftermath, and that was, like, another promo pretty similar, like we just talked about. He had it right there, all the members of Retribution, and Mustafa again, like, Kofi Kingston could have been, he could have been in the Royal Rumble. I'll take his place this time, and I'm going to be the one replacing Kofi this Sunday, and, maybe I'll win, and then WrestleMania and all of that. So like you said, Retribution was a good idea on paper, but execution, getting me excited about what they do and what they don't do, is a different story from the WWE. It's bad that they have to feud with Xavier Woods, and I'm not saying that he's a bad character, but one guy in the feud like against five. What's the point of all of this? Is like he doesn't even have help from Big E, from nobody. So I still don't understand this, and yet they struggle to get the upper hand, and yet Xavier beats a Slapjack. I just don't like this at all. They don't know what to do with this. I really don't like this at all.
Yeah, and I feel like the only reason why they keep kind of dragging it out is because they don't know what they're doing either. And Retribution, I think, would have gotten over a lot better if these guys, instead of coming out looking like crazy predators and Bane and all this stuff, if they just look like they're normal, like. We're not going to do WWE's gimmick that they gave us because screw them. They don't treat us legit. We'll just come out there with our shoot names and we'll just be real people. And then it's just like, I think that would have got over better than these weird costumes and this weird gimmick and everything. And I mean, Xavier Woods lost to T-Bar, lost to Mace. Now he beats Slapjack. So, okay. So, like, now what? Is this feud going to continue? And like you said, it's one guy versus four. Because I believe Mia Yim has left the group. I wouldn't be surprised if she debuts in the Royal Rumble as Mia Yim. So that would be pretty sweet. But
or as Jade.
Yeah, well, that would be even better. Yeah, she debuts on Impact, please.
Yeah, that would be legit. That would be legit.
But yeah, this just isn't good. I don't really know where they're going. And wherever they go, I don't see it being very good.
Yes. And Paul, but look at this. Like, this is good, though. Her business, how they look. How, like you said, how they present themselves is one of the best groups, at least in the last 10 days, staples in the WWE. And like you said, MVP, like his resurgence and like just forming this group was probably his idea. Is, really good to see at least that there's people that care about the presentation of professional wrestling. Going from the days in, Kenny Omega in the picture with Don Callis, things like that are like completely like take us away from that. Like love of professional wrestling, my striker will say, but like these four guys. Even like Shelton Benjamin, a guy that was absolutely sidelined, nobody even remembered that he was employed. But now, now he has a spot right there. I mean, maybe because there's tension right there, but of course the Hurt Business is talking, and they're talking about they're going to have the gauntlet match with Matt Riddle. If Matt Riddle wins, then he will get a United States Championship opportunity. But like you see Cedric and Shelton Benjamin having like a lot of problems now, and I don't like that because it's supposed to be a good group. It's supposed to be a group that like is not supposed to break yet, because finally now is when they have all success. So I don't like that. And then of course this happens, Paul. Arthur, they thought that like his friends were having a party for him. This sometimes he can be okay, but some others I just hate when he comes out. Because like it takes away the seriousness of the show, at least for me.
Yeah, they MVP, he had them all out there and all this stuff, and they're kind of just saying how like legit Bobby Lashley is. He is gold. Cedric and Shelton, they have gold. And they're like, MVP, you're the only one who doesn't have gold, and you brought us all together. You really, took our careers from like the bullshit to the main event, so to speak. So they're like, we got you something, and that's where they got him a gold chain. It's like THB, the Hurt Business. And then Truth, he came out because he's like, oh, my birthday was last week and you guys forgot. It's okay because you remembered this week. And they're like, oh, that chain is for me. And they're like, what? And he's like, Truth, happy birthday. That's what he thought the THB meant. So they're like, this freaking guy. And they're like, oh, my God. And that's where I like Lashley, where he's like, no, Truth, you're right. He's like, come in the ring, happy birthday. Because, Lashley's going to kick his ass. And then when this starts to happen, you see all the 24/7 jobbers come out, like Tucker, Drew Gulak, Humberto Carrillo, yeah. So they all come out, and then that's when Matt Riddle, he's able. I believe he hits the final flash knee strike onto MVP, and then he kind of runs out of there. So then that is setting up for the gauntlet match, which. I mean, I like the promo they cut. Like you said, when Shelton tried to talk, Cedric cut him off, and again, Shelton looks at him like this fucking kid, like I'm gonna have to whip his ass one day. And then but I don't think the group is gonna break up yet. I think hopefully MVP and maybe Lashley can get the young guy under control there. And with Riddle attacking, like I said, it set it up for the main events or. For not the main event, before the end of the show, but I mean this wasn't bad. I just wish we wouldn't have seen the jobbers, and I wish half of those jobbers were actually used correctly, because then maybe the show would be
it would be a lot more interesting. For example, I want your thoughts on this really quick. See, Backstage is coming back on Saturday at 8:00, right? Why do they reveal the number 30 entrant in the Men's Royal Rumble? Isn't that one of the best parts of the show, because it's always like the last guy, and you get excited and you start wondering who could that be? CM Punk, let's say whatever, right? Or any name, right? They remember the days of like, Rey Mysterio, Kenny Omega, those things. Mm-hmm. Why they have to reveal that in advance? So like already you're taking away one of the surprising moments of the Rumble. And I mean, the number 1 and 2 entrants in the women's, like, it doesn't really matter. That, like you said, is like the second one, or like number 1 is like they still have the same opportunity. So that means that like it doesn't really matter who it is. But the third one, it bothers me a little bit. And they're going to do, of course, Backstage with Booker T, Paige, and Renee Young, or Renee Paquette. So she's still employed, not for WWE, but for Fox.
Yeah, that I hate the most. But that just shows that they don't care about the Royal Rumble. And I mean, usually there hasn't been that many people who won it from the 30th spot anyway, so it's not like it's that big of a deal, but it still sucks because, like you said, that's the surprise. That's the last entrant in the Royal Rumble. So then, when the 29th entrant comes, okay, that's the last surprise, because we already know 30's Dolph Ziggler or Cesaro or Daniel Bryan, so we don't give a shit. Yeah, exactly. So that kills it. And like you said, for the women, I don't really, okay, who cares? It'll probably be like, Dana Brooke and Naomi.
Yeah, or Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, so whatever.
No, they'll probably have Charlotte, so Charlotte can be in there for like over an hour.
Or like somebody was saying Bayley and Bianca Belair. We'll see. I mean, like they want to, maybe they feel they want to portray them legit.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I agree with you. It's stupid. Just, the people should give their predictions. They should hype it up. Everything should be a surprise.
Because it's Royal Rumble. It's supposed to be that's one out of all the pay-per-views. That's supposed to be the most surprising one. Something that wasn't surprising actually was long. Didn't even make any sense. Like you said, matches like this that don't have any implications of what it is storyline or like title matches should not be happening in this show. Especially because these three guys, unless you don't have, The Miz has the Money in the Bank briefcase, but Sheamus and John Morrison, they don't have anything. So why are they having a match? Sheamus was heel kind of. Now he's babyface. The heel now babyface again. So what's going on?
Yeah, I didn't.
Go ahead.
I didn't get this at all, and you said there could have been some kind of implications. The Miz and Morrison are always running their mouth, always all this shit, blah, blah, blah. You could have Adam Pearce, because he was on the show to fix that women's debacle earlier on. He could have been like, hey, you guys want to have a match, Sheamus, you were kind of being bullshit with Keith Lee and all this stuff the past couple of weeks, and Miz and Morrison, you guys are running around thinking you're Roman Reigns, thinking you own the place, so we're going to have a match. And there should have been no interference. It shouldn't have been a handicap match like it turned into. It could have been John Morrison and Sheamus, and loser gets number one.
Yeah.
In the Rumble. I don't care if you
add already excitement to that.
I don't care if you reveal number one, because number one's number, it don't matter. That's not like, oh my God, it's not exciting. So it's like, but you guys are being bullshit. And at least then, okay, because this match is pointless to begin with. But if you put a stipulation, oh man, whoever loses is going to have to enter the Royal Rumble at number one. That sucks. Now I'm going to want to find out who wins and loses this thing.
Yes,
but no, they didn't do that. It was just a whatever match, and like I said, eventually, when Sheamus was beating the shit out of Morrison, it became a handicap. Did he actually pin him, and then it became a handicap, or it just?
Wins, and then the Miz starts taunting him again, like you see in the picture. Then it's like, can we have it in a hand? Can you deal with us with like a handicap match? And can we make this even worse? Yeah, of course, we know how. Boom, handicap match. Why? When Sheamus is already gassed out. I don't get it. And Sheamus was kind of like getting the upper hand a little bit, kind of dominating both of the guys, but then he actually dodged one of the Morrison's tornadoes, and then he went the broke kick on Morrison, but then the Miz held, get Quinn from the back, got the skull crushing finale, 1, 2, 3, and then they win. Does it make any sense?
Could Morrison get the pin and Morrison look good? No.
Well, you've said it. Ever since Morrison came back to the WWE, he's like pretty much the lackey of the Miz. He can never get a win for himself. No, no, and that's what we got. It doesn't happen.
I'd rather see everyone back.
Yeah. I want Taya to debut. At least I'm gonna go with my wife. No, I'm not gonna be like with you anymore, because at least my wife gives me something at night that you don't. You know what I mean? It's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. And like the Miz gets like I said, 1, 2, 3. Again, no implications into this. Let's go to at least something a little legit for Jean Paul. Oh yeah. Yeah.
This reminds me of Triple H.
Evans, you're not a man,
Yeah, doesn't this remind you of Triple H with
Trish Stratus?
Yeah.
Yep. They gotta go memory lane many times, but this was good. Like I guess he's showing her how to do some moves and all of that, and then he's like, so what's going on? So Charlotte's right there, and the line that she said, it was good though, because she starts talking, she starts going against Ric Flair, and she's like, remember, I'm not the bad guy anymore. It's like you use all that money for the girls, for the party days and all of that. Is like, and I'm actually here. Going from like you're going from like the legend to an old man. It's like come on, what the fuck is going on with you? But like I like this, and see, Flair couldn't even say anything. Like I was hoping for him to say, really, it's like I'm your father. Like if I want to do this, it's my life, whatever. But like they kind of like went at it for a little bit, and I like Charlotte like you said, I don't want her to go into a bitch mode, but at least I like the seriousness that she takes this line and like these interactions with her father. But then in the end, women's right to the back of the head, in the neck, boom, and then they left. So that's what it was. I mean, like you said, Lacey needs to be put over after this. Is the only way that people will actually think that the feud is legit. I mean, for me, Rick being just the player, manho, whatever, it's fine. I mean, I enjoy that. But like you said, it's like without that, it's like really like Lacey needs to be over in this feud.
Yeah, and it's confusing, and the reason why I don't like this as much as I probably would, not that this is a very good story or anything, but like you could make it decent if the people aren't playing their roles correctly. The only one who is Lacey Evans. Yes. Clearly, she's just flirting with Rick and manipulating to get ahead. No pun intended. But it's like that's what she's doing it all. But with Charlotte should kind of be the baby face and feel hurt in all this, where instead she's kind of coming off as a bitch and like. But also, still, she's justified in what she's saying. But then Ric Flair should be like you said, screw you. I've paid my dues. I'm allowed to do what I want. Blah blah blah. But instead he's all like, so too, and he kind of looks like he's upset that his daughter's yelling at him.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Nobody's playing their roles correct. Yeah,
it should be like, okay, dude, it's like I'm you're my daughter. You see me doing this.
Because she even said, she's like, when I saw you doing this stuff when I was a kid, blah blah blah. Like it was funny, it was cute, but she's like, now, like I'm an adult. She's like, I'm, pretty much the queen. I work here. She's like, you don't even work here. You don't wrestle anymore. Like, why are you even here?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a story that needs to be improved a little bit. Like I said, Lacey needs to go over in this video. If they ever have another match singles, she needs to go over. And then maybe that will another championship opportunity, maybe challenge Asuka. This thing needs to come up, like the implications, repercussions need to be for something better. But, something that wasn't good. And I feel really bad for AJ Styles. R-Truth talking to Adam Pearce, and AJ Styles comes out, and then they're just going to have a match. I don't even know what the reason was for this match being, but I feel bad for AJ Styles because it's like really R-Truth. And I'm not saying R-Truth is a bad wrestler. You know that. We love Ron Killings. Mm-hmm. But, the fact that he holds the 24/7 championship does not help out AJ Styles. You're not going to put that title on AJ because AJ himself is going to say, I don't want that prop in Ryback's Warden.
I agree with you because R-Truth is good and he doesn't mind doing the comedy stuff. He likes it. He has fun with it. It probably keeps him young, and when you watch the documentary on R-Truth, the guy likes to have fun, so he's a fun-loving guy. So this makes sense for him. This is good. But like you said, AJ Styles, to even put him in the conversation that, like, 24/7 championship, it makes you cringe. Now, obviously, this wasn't for that, and it wasn't anything like that. This was just a match for AJ. Probably, hype him up, make him and almost look like threats in the Royal Rumble. But, I mean, the match was all right, but if R-Truth was presented more legit, it would have felt more legit. But, it was what it was. They have 3 hours of show. They don't know what to do. Clearly, when you have a women's segment, redone 3-4 times over because, nobody knows what to do. So that was kind of the same thing here. I mean, R-Truth, like you and I both pop when he does the John Cena move.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Like that. I mean, it's fun. It's funny, but like you said, you knew he's not going to win. And like you said, AJ here, calf crusher, done. And, he had a little stare down with Omos and all that. They tried to do the comedy thing where, like, you don't see, like, they shoot him from the one camera angle, then they do the wide shot, and you see the huge Mandingo, and you're like,
yes, yeah, you're just like, yeah.
But, I mean, it was what it was. It wasn't good. But, that was the trend for this show.
Yes, it's true. Let's go with our girl, Alexa Bliss. No, it's not our girl, but at least when she's an actress, like, we'll say, like, when she does this character, Harley Quinn, a little bit like Wacko and all that, she does good. A lot of people like, others dislike, but, like, for me, at least she's okay. In this role, that, like, she doesn't have to have, really great matches. She's not expected to have great matches, but she just have, like, this promo talking about what happened with Asuka. Hey, she wasn't playing fair. And I wasn't playing fair either. So, like she said, well, this time I might get a new toy for me to play with. So she's still talking to at least The Fiend or Bray Wyatt, I believe she's talking, because there's other, like, person right there. But, like, I think in there, I miss him. I want to see him again, blah, blah, blah. And then we see, like, the shots of, like, like The Fiend right there and, like, let him in. And then there you go. Legit. Okay. It was a pretty, okay promo. Alexa knows how to pull these things out at least better. And yeah, that was hyping up the championship match that she's going to have with Asuka. So, any comments on this?
Yeah, the one thing just, the promo was fine, did its job, everything like that. But like you said, maybe some people are saying, Alexa Bliss, not very good in this role or whatever. It's just like, to me, like, if you want to see how good she is in this, I'm not saying, she's fantastic, but listen to these promos and how she carries herself and how she sells this character and this gimmick, and then listen to a Jade Cargill promo on AEW.
Oh, yeah.
Then you can see, I guess Alexa Bliss is actually pretty good.
Then you see bad from, like, then you see, like, good from, like, bad. Yeah. You'll be able to tell the difference. Absolutely right, Paul. So, like, this is the best match or the best wrestling part of the show that we have. And it sucks that we have to say that by, like, 9:30, 9:45 and go on
it took this long to get the first, pretty good segment of the show.
Yes. So, Bad Riddle, well, like, we knew that he had to win because, of course, like, everybody said that he was going to have a match at the Royal Rumble. So, the match quality, like I said, Riddle is pretty good. And, all these guys are extremely great, too. Like, Hurt Business, and once again, they are a really, really great staple tag team. All these guys are really good. And I like that, like, Riddle, like, looked really good and intense in this. And, like, he had a lot of hype for what is going to be, like, the match at the Royal Rumble because he won. Right there, he eliminates Benjamin, really legit, and then eliminate like also like MVP. He did like a choke, like the figure 4, I think it was.
Yeah,
This.
oh yeah, he did the heel hook because when he Shelton actually, and the match with Shelton was actually pretty good, and it was like Shelton was actually almost going to pin him, and then Alexander, because they're all out there, kind of caused a little bit of a distraction. So then it's like that's how Riddle was able to get the opportunity there, and then MVP comes in right away, but MVP's kind of jaw jacking with Shelton and Cedric. And then Riddle quick gets the heel hook on him and taps him out right away, which it sucks for MVP because then he kind of looks like a joke, kind of like, oh, really? Like you tapped out in like 3 seconds. But I mean, I feel if Riddle would have went, 5 to 10 minutes with each of these guys, that would have made the Hurt Business look like losers.
Oh, yeah.
Because then it's like the three, you couldn't beat this guy and you had him in the ring. How long? He should be gassed at that point. But, so he got the quick win over MVP. And then you think, okay, now, had a decent showing with Shelton, real quick with MVP. Now him and Cedric are going to put on a great match. And that's exactly what they did.
Oh, yeah. They gave us a pretty extremely great match. But, of course, Cedric, is a pretty underrated. And Riddle, at least, out of all the guys, from NXT, he's presented legit. They let him be himself and all of that. Vince McMahon, supposedly, is a big fan of, like, Matt Riddle. So, yeah, good stuff. He gets the win. And, like, of course, he's celebrating, but then he gets attacked by Bobby. Legit. Boom. So, I'm thinking that if they do things logically, I mean, for hype-wise, they're going to pull the trigger and then we're going to have a new United States champion. But I wouldn't want Lashley to lose the championship because without Lashley feels, again, regular. It feels ordinary. Although he's in the Hurt Business, but Lashley needs that that title to just be relevant because I feel like he with all this momentum he should go for the WWE Championship. But at least for me, we'll see what they do in the Rumble. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do something completely awful and put the title on Goldberg, then I wouldn't mind seeing Bobby Lashley kick his ass. You know what I mean? Like if you give me something like that, then yeah. But I don't think they're gonna do Lashley versus Drew again. Even though like we always made the jokes, especially the first time. Oh, give us the TNA match, put Lashley over. Let him be WWE champ. But I mean, we'll see where this goes. I really do think they're gonna put the title on Riddle. But I hope if they do that, like you said, you got to do something with Lashley because then what does he do?
Yes, exactly. So we'll see what happens on that. But it's time to You Think You Know Me. Like that was at least everybody was hyped up because like they didn't tell us beforehand that Edge was going to be in the show. So like, hey, he's going to address the WWE universe and like the status of his injury, see what happens. And he cut an amazing promo. Like you said, all these years of being an actor, memorizing how to deliver. Every time that he has improved his acting skills and his delivery skills so much because all these years of, like I said, being on TV, movies, and all of that. He has prepared himself to like be extremely great message deliverer. And right there, he started out, when I was a kid and I wanted to be a wrestler. I said to my mom, hey, I want to be a wrestler. And my mom says, just Nike. And she goes, what do you mean, Nike? Just go do it. Just do it. And I like that. He says, sometimes in life you got to like really focus in like things like, you can lose everything that you have in seconds. He said, I was like on WrestleMania 27, I was the World Heavyweight Champion. And within a week, I lost everything. I had everything, I had nothing, I got everything, nothing. I know Paul loves that. So he goes in all of this, and, he says, well, once again, I get my career back. Randy Orton puts it away. The best match ever, done. Again, one more time, it's like I got my tricep like done, my injury. So it's like I just, I need to go back and get my dream back. I got to be a wrestler again. And that's why I'm announcing my entry into the Royal Rumble. And the stakes are a lot higher. It's going to be a lot more difficult. But in the end, I want to get my dream back. And he says, like, remember, Henry Ford had a quote. And he says, when you think you can, you can. And when you think you can't, you can't. And I think I can. So legit lines. What do you think, Paul?
Oh, I love this. This was definitely the best thing of the night. There was Randy Orton, spoiler, he almost beat Edge here for the best moment of the night, so he almost beat Edge again. But, no, this was great. This is fantastic. If you would do this with every main event guy, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, guys like that, to really sell the Rumble, like what it means to them and why they want to be in it, then I feel like that would make it feel more legit. This was really the only legit Rumble build on this entire show.
Yeah. Yeah, That was extremely great. Edge is just like you said before. You told me like his delivery skills are so good, and the fact that like he was able to sell you like in the Rumble, he's gonna like fight for it every.
No, yeah, him and Drew and a few others on this show. When they actually talk and cut a promo, there's legit emotion behind it.
Yes.
Other times you feel like guys are like news reporters and they're reading off a teleprompter. And it doesn't. It sounds like a robot. It sounds like just dead inside. There's no emotion. It's like, I will beat you at Extreme Rules. You will not take my title from me. And it's like, really? Like, how am I supposed to get excited for somebody who talks like a freaking robot? But Edge, like you said, this is like legit energy. You can feel that he's upset, that he's angry, that he still feels like he has to prove himself and all this. And this was fantastic.
Oh yeah, no, I loved it, and at least somebody could tell us that the Rumble is important. One guy was able to do that for us. Thank you, Edge. Let's go to the main event finally. Boom, Alexa Bliss going against Asuka. We were having actually negative thoughts about this. We're thinking, oh my gosh, she's gonna win the championship, so the Fiend and all of that. But thankfully, that wasn't the case. I mean, the match quality, kind of more cinematic, you will say, because a lot of times Alexa Bliss just went through all her characters rather than just have the match. Like he started out as like Harley Quinn or whatever. Then he moved into like at some point he was like riding the horse, right? Like Asuka.
This match was. I mean, this was okay. I thought the match they had last week was at least a little better. Like Alexa was wrestling a little more and stuff, and maybe taking a couple more bumps. But yeah, this was kind of just she was beating up Alexa Bliss. Then like you see here on the rocking horse, and then it goes to commercial break. Then it comes back and Asuka's dominating again. So it's like, what was the whole point of the rocking horse? We come back and Asuka's on the offense. And then, then we get that where she quick switches gear and she's like normal Alexa Bliss. And God, when you just hear, who was the not a Byron Saxton, the Tom Phillips, when he goes, oh, she's the goddess. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, oh my, like does he talk like that in real life?
Yeah. Like,
is he just like such like a loser? Like, no, it's just Alexa Bliss. Don't call her the goddess. Like, that would be like Charlotte. Oh, here's the queen. No, it's Charlotte. Oh, that's a bullshit nickname. Like, but yeah. So, and I don't like the gear changes and all that because it says live and clearly she wasn't, stripping, live in front of the Thunderdome. If so, we should have got, tickets. But it's just like I don't, so it's not live. This is obviously some kind of pre-tape, some kind of bullshit like that. Unless she's like a magician and she's got the costumes on underneath them all or something. But anyway, she's like this, and then it's like, oh, Asuka's kind of unsure. Then she goes back into the demon fiend possession mode where she no-sells everything, where she's like Super Saiyan. And then, and she starts, Asuka hits a big knee strike on her. And then she kind of just like, she sold that a little bit, but kind of just wiped her face off. Like I said, it's like an anime. Like she just wiped her cheek, like, oh, okay. Like, is that your best shot? And you think, oh, God, here we go. And she kind of sets up for the mandible claw. And then I even texted you earlier on. And we can put the screenshot from the text message for proof if people don't believe me. But I said, I'm like, Randy Orton needs to come out and RKO her and cause a DQ because I don't see any other way that Asuka would have won, especially when she went into like the no-sell, Fiend Alexa Bliss. And then what do we see? She has the mandible claw. Boom. There's Randy Orton. Aloe vera gel does wonders, people. If you got burns, put it on your face. It'll be really good. But, he's standing there. And then, you see it. And this I popped for. Like I said, this almost beat Edge for like the most legit moment of the show. Boom, RKO on Alexa Bliss. And that pretty much the show went off the air. There was no ref, go DQ. Was no
nothing.
Yeah, which I mean, hey, come on. If you have two eyes and you know the rules of wrestling, this ended in a DQ. So
yes.
But I mean, that was a good way to close the show just because now, I think we got to see something with the Fiend next week at the Rumble.
Maybe the return. Even they do like Undertaker, he'll return.
Only because it's one of the things where how like protective was the Fiend of Alexa Bliss before that. Remember when he was holding her and then like the Fiend wouldn't attack Randy and he just handed her to him and the Fiend wasn't like, oh, screw her and went after Randy. He just held Alexa. Like he'd rather protect her than go after Randy. So I like that, when he RKO'd him or RKO'd her, what better way to get the Fiend back on TV? And I think it's been long enough I mean, you could milk it a little more, but it's been long enough where it doesn't feel rushed if you bring him back at this point, because you need to do something to either continue or end this feud.
Yeah, no, and it needs to end. A lot of people remember they said that we're going to have a Firefly Funhouse match, but I don't know if they're going to do that. There's not enough time. There's not high for it. But at least maybe the Fiend coming back and costing Randy Orton an elimination, and then that will be, okay, let's have it by WrestleMania, something like that. I mean, like you said, it's maybe too long. We'll see what they do. Maybe Fastlane will be the main event on that. But that's what it was. A go-home show that did not feel like a go-home show. Like you said, at least... like Edge and this Randy Orton, like you texted me, I have the proof, I have the screenshot. He said it. If Alexa gets RKO, it's legit, and it was. The only thing is, like, WWE ends the show is kind of like, RKO, Stone Cold Steve Austin next. Okay, so isn't that like I'm supposed to care for like these guys? And then you hear, straight up Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm like, okay, change the channel. I don't watch those shows. I'm sorry, Stone Cold. No, I rather watch the Broken Skull sessions, but the other stuff I'm not a fan of. But family, Raw Break will be covering every single thing that happens in the Royal Rumble. We're going to talk about more the Peacock move and all of that, in later shows, because as more details keep coming up to us, we will be digesting and talking to every single one of you. But, don't forget, Royal Rumble in Spanish and English, Jean-Paul, myself, Sunday after the pay-per-view is over, we're going to be talking about all of this, winners and all of that. So don't forget to help us out, subscribe, and hit the bell for all notifications. And where else can they find us, Paul?
And also don't forget to follow us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course, like Juan had mentioned, go to the Original Rope Break on YouTube for the home of the #1 podcast. Click subscribe, click like, and turn on that bell for all notifications.
Thank you so much, family, and we'll see you next time. It will be NXT, AW Dynamite, Wednesday Night Wars. So be with us for that, and you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is...